With TBC Anniversary right around the corner, very realistically releasing this year, people are starting to prepare for TBC. And they're already looking at what they can do to get ready and get ahead of the curve. So here are 5 things you can really do to just get ready and hyped and prepared for TBC Anniversary when it launches. Now, right off the get-go, the first one is the most basic one. Pick your main class. Now, there are 2 caveats to this. Are you going to be leveling a Blood Elf or a Draenei, or are you going to be leveling a different class on one of the existing races? Now, if you're going to be a Blood Elf or a Draenei, you should start preparing alt resources and all that stuff to get your Blood Elf or your Draenei ready to go. So if you're going to be a Blood Elf Paladin or a Draenei Shaman, you're going to want resources to have that character to level up their blacksmithing, engineering, and all that stuff. And I'll cover that more later in the profession section. But if you're not leveling those, and you're just leveling another existing race, you should prepare to pick your main right now. Because if you're a warrior or rogue player, and I know there's a lot of you, if we look at Anniversary, you can clearly tell that there's a lot of warriors and rogues. You're not going to have the greatest time in TBC Anniversary, I'm going to be real with it. Not because your class is bad, not because rogue or warrior is terrible. In fact, Fury Warrior is the 4th best or 3rd best spec for a lot of TBC. The issue is there's so many of you, and TBC is a ranged-friendly meta. So as a warrior and rogue, you have to perform far better. You're going to be standing in fire and a lot more effects way more often than a ranged player would. So if you are a meta-chasing, min-max, sweaty, elite player, you're going to want to reroll your warrior and have your warlock, or your hunter, or your mage ready to go. Those 3 are the kings of TBC for the most part. Now in phase 1, I am pretty sure Elemental Shaman or Enhanced Shaman is the #1 class you can pick. I'm pretty sure Enhanced smacks in phase 1 of TBC. But then Enhanced and Elemental start to fall off. But for the most part, any class is viable. Now, I do want to clarify with rogues, why should you reroll as a rogue? Rogues just aren't that good in TBC. There's nothing really wrong with them, but a lot of guilds mid-level and above just aren't going to really bother taking a rogue when a warrior does the rogue's job better, right? And they don't even take many warriors either. Now, if you have a good guild and community, you're good. Don't stress it, play with your friends in your community. But if you're in a guild of 27 warriors, 5 rogues, and a bunch of healers, do you really think you're going to get the rogue spot or the warrior spot? I would keep that in mind and start looking at the classes you really want to play for TBC. If you are 100% dead set on playing rogue or warrior, start looking for a guild or community right now and getting ready for that. If you're already in an Anniversary guild, good job, make sure you get that spot. If you're a player that's preparing to return, you best be kind of prepared that you may not find a good guild as a rogue or warrior. There's something for you to keep in mind. Now, let's look at the tier list. This is a very, very high level, no breakdown tier list. For tanks, you have Bear Druid as the best main tank. Then you have Prot Paladin as the best AoE tank. Then you have Prot Warrior as okay. There's nothing wrong with the Prot Warrior. He does a good job, but the Bear Druid does a better job than the Prot Warrior. And the Prot Paladin does a far better job than both as an AoE tank. So Prot Warrior falls in 3rd place. But you can tank almost all of TBC with all 3 tanks with very minimal issue, aside from a few bosses that have magic immunity. So Prot Paladins will struggle a little bit. Then we have the healers, and I'm going to be upfront. If you want a guaranteed raid spot all the time, 24/7, and like have your guild be at your hand and feet, loving and caring for you, play Resto Shaman. You are the single most in demand class for the entirety of TBC. It's not even close. Resto Shaman is up here. Every single raid is going to try to be taking as close to 5 that they can. Now, people are going to take Disc Priest and other things like that as well, but Resto Shaman is head and shoulders above everybody in regards to AoE healing, decent main tank or solo healing, buffs, totems, bloodlust. They bring everything in this perfect package that it's hard for a guild to really resist. Now, all the other healers, you will still be in demand. Nobody's going to be like, oh, holy pally, disgusting. No, they're still going to take you. But the #1 preference is always going to be Resto Shaman, and then you got your Priest, and then you got everything else afterwards. But those classes will still be in demand, for example, for Battle Res, for Resto Druid, and things of that nature. They're still there, they'll still be wanted and loved, but if you want a guaranteed raid spot, I would go with Resto Shaman. Now I already covered the DPS a bit, so I'm not going to go very high level. You have Warlocks and Hunters tied about here, then you have your Mages right below them, then you have your Fury Warriors, then you have your Enhanced Elementals, then you have your Rogues, then you have your Ret Paladin somewhere in between there. It's neither the greatest or the worst class. Ret Paladin does perfectly fine for almost all of TBC, but it'll never really be at the top of the meters, but it's not down here at the bottom with Boomkin and Shadow Priest anymore. Shadow Priest is also very high in demand. Mana Battery, Vampiric Touch, all those stuff makes the Shadow Priest very, very high in demand. People are always going to want a Shadow Priest in their raid. Typically, they're going to want 2, so the Warlocks can do even more damage, right? Because if you're going to have 8 Warlocks, you're going to want 2 Shadow Priests. Now, we're diving into the second section, alts. Now, I did say earlier, you have Blood Elves and Draenei becoming a thing in TBC Anniversary, especially in the pre-patch. And if that is going to be your new main, you need to start preparing your main now. In other contexts, if it's not going to be your main, you're going to be, I don't know, an Orc Shaman, an Orc Warlock or something like that. Don't stress too much about those two classes and just prepare your new main right now. But if you got your main ready, with alt, you're going to want to prepare for them. Now, typically you can have your tailoring alts, so you can get your transmutes ready, so every 4 days you can make one spell weave, etc. So if you get your alt to level 50, you can level the tailoring up to 300, get your specialty, and do those things, because for the first phase and even the second phase, those items are going to sell for a lot of gold. And on that Classic 2019, when they were going for 200-300, I'm pretty sure on TBC Anniversary, they're going to be going for 700, 800, 900, 1,000 gold per, at least for those first couple of weeks, because gold inflation anniversary is all the way to the moon. It's beyond abysmal. If I didn't see it with my own eyes, I wouldn't believe it was true. It's almost like every single person is swiping. That's how much gold is in the economy. But now that we've got that sorted and out the way, you've picked your alts. Do you also want to have a PvE and a PvP different alt, right? Like I said earlier, if you're a rogue or a warrior and you want a PvP, you're going to want a different alt for PvE, because rogues just aren't good in PvE, like I said earlier. You'll still find a good guild, but if you want a PvP, it's purely for PvP, for the world PvP, for the BGs, for the arenas, you probably want to pick a different class to actually PvE and enjoy those raids and get in it all the time. So you might do a Resto Shaman or something like that, so you always get into those raids, always have a good time, and then your PvP main is over there having a blast being a rogue, because rogue is phenomenal for PvP. Like, I'm not even going to sugarcoat it, they're probably the best class, alongside Resto Druid, and it's just amazing how good those classes are in PvP. But if you don't plan on having a PvP and a PvE main because of dual spec, right, you have both in one character, that is cool too. You should still have alt for Professions. Professions will make a shit ton of gold. A lot of people have Druid alts that go around flying and picking up all the herbs because, they can just immediately dismount, pick it up, and then fly off. Especially on a PvP server, it's going to make gathering your resources of your profession drastically easier. But now we got alt out the way. So let's actually deep dive into flying. And this is a big one. You need 5,000 gold to get your epic flying. Now, for a lot of people, that might seem like a huge amount of gold, but just leveling from 1 to 17 TBC is going to net you, give or take, about 3,500, 4,000 gold, give or take, for the 1 to 70 journey. If you've already got your main level to 60, you're probably going to want to find different ways to make gold, whether that's playing the auction house, whether that's leveling a boosting alt. For example, mages can do ZG, Zul'Farrak, warlocks can do Maraudon, paladins, for example, in TBC can do slave pen, so can mages. Boosting is a very solid way to make gold, and you don't need a huge amount of gear to do a good boost. The more gear, the easier the boost is, but you don't really need this ginormous array of gold to get your boosting to be good. But you don't want to boost at all, understandable. You can then play the auction house. You can level a druid to go around farming the open world resources. Or you can make a lot of your gold at the launch of TBC by selling things to people that did not prepare ahead of time. And that's going to be the next section, I'll get there in a bit. You will need 5,000 gold. If you're playing slowly, you have about 6 to 8 months to get 5,000 gold. If you're just running a couple dungeons throughout the week, say you run 5 dungeons every week, you run 5 Stratholms, you sell a couple Righteous Orbs, the Righteous Orbs at Anniversary are going for like, what, 100-ish gold right now? You're probably going to be swimming in gold come TBC. Even if you're playing very casually, you should probably have about 5 to 8,000 gold just running a couple dungeons every week. In fact, if you want to maximize your gold per hour as a casual player, run 1 to 5 Strath lives per week. That's all you have to do. Find a group, run your Strath live, do round robin orbs. You should realistically at least get 1 to 2 orbs per day. That's 200 gold. If you don't have that much time to play, you should still be getting 1 to 2 orbs per week. That is still 200, 300 gold per week. In terms of all the blues and all the random shit you can sell as well, there's a lot of gold to be made. That's pretty easy. Now, this isn't a gold making guide. There's a million videos like that, so I would recommend you watch one of those to see where you can get your 5,000 gold, but you should start preparing for that, whether you're leveling and preparing for your new main or preparing your alts to have flying, epic flying on all of them. That's going to take a lot of resources. Now, the next one. I did say you can make a lot of gold by preparing profession sets and profession kits for people that are coming back, but this is also good for yourself. For example, Jewelcrafting. It's one of the most in-demand professions in all of TBC. Jewelcrafting is going to be beyond important. So if you want to make a lot of gold, the launch of TBC, you should start doing Jewelcrafting prep, which means all those citrine diamonds, aquamarines, all of that stuff that is essentially worthless right now will be worth a lot of gold come TBC Anniversary pre-patch. Because everybody's going to be like, oh shit, I need to level Jewelcrafting. Oh my god, you're selling a full kit for 5,000 gold? Well, I didn't actually play, but somehow I have 5,000 gold because I went to G2G and I swiped. Or I went to this website, or you know, it was in my mailbox. I didn't buy gold, whatever. However they got the gold is irrelevant, because you can get the gold from them by giving them that jewel crafting kit from the get-go. In terms of this, you can also do blacksmithing sets. You can do any other profession set you want to get people ready. For example, drums and TBC are very important. So there's going to be a lot of people going to the new main, whether that's a warrior player leveling a druid because they want to be a bear tank or anything like that. They're going to have leatherworking. So you can sell a full 1 to 300 leatherworking kit, a 1 to 300 blacksmithing, 1 to 300 jewel crafting, 1 to 300 engineering. Any kit you want to sell will sell for a huge amount of gold, and there will be people looking to buy that on day one. But that's just for the gold side. For yourself, you're going to need that stuff. If you're leveling for your main, or like I said, your alt, you're going to want those kits ready to go from day one, because the auction house prices are going to be obscene. It's going to be completely unfun, and a lot of new players are not going to have the gold necessary to get those resources at a reasonable price. So if you are looking to prepare your TBC main, you may want to start farming some resources right now, which takes us on to the next two steps. Now, I need to talk about one step in particular, and this is fresh servers. If they do fresh servers, all of this may be completely wasted. If you've been grinding to rank 14, prepping 10 to 20 thousands of gold on your account, fresh servers may disincentivize you and make you frustrated, but you don't have to roll on fresh servers. A lot of people want to roll fresh to get away from those pre-gamed markets and economies. Now, based on what we know with Wrath of the Lich King's fresh servers, if you played on Sky Fury on NA for example, you know that fresh servers typically die within 60 to 90 days. So all those people on the first server will come back to the main server regardless. Now, this is if, and a big if, that they do TBC fresh servers, because they may actually not do that at all. Because the Sky Fury experience was rather miserable for a lot of people, so the devs may be, we're not doing that mistake again. But it may happen. So keep that in mind, that if you're a new player that's planning on returning, you may be really upset that you leveled and put all this effort in and then fresh servers drop. Now, do you go to the fresh server, do you stay? I'm gonna be real. Just stay on the current servers. Fresh servers shouldn't be a reason for you to quit. Now, if you're okay with leveling and doing all this stuff again, level now, prepare now, and then do it again in TBC pre-patch on the fresh server. But if you know that you're gonna quit because you burn out, just wait for TBC pre-patch. Leveling will be easier, gold will be more abundant, it'll be easier to just get everything ready to go in TBC pre-patch rather than it is right now. But now that we've got fresh servers out the way, community. This is a big one for returning players, and it's going to be pretty important. If you're in a guild or community right now, you can skip this section if you want, but stay here otherwise. You're going to want a good guild. If you're one of the 50 warriors in a guild, you're not going to have a great time when it comes to TBC and you're still trying to be warrior, because they're going to pick the best warrior. The greatest one, your big Giga Chad, your Ampes, your Alondos. If you're not those people, they're probably going to skip you over for one of the better players, so you're going to have to re-roll. And if you're trying to stay as warrior, a lot of guilds aren't really looking for that. So you're going to struggle to find a guild spot. So look right now for a guild or community that you know you will get that warrior spot in. Or that rogue spot in. Because a lot of guilds you will struggle otherwise. I'm going to be real with it. There's always going to be casual and non-sweaty guilds. But there's so many rogues and warriors that are rank 14. You think you're the special Grand Marshal High Warlord? Everybody's High Warlord and Grand Marshal. Nobody's special here. With that out of the mind, for new players though, you're going to want to find a community sooner rather than later. Because if you come during TBC pre-patch or just TBC launch, you're going to be inundated with a lot of mid-level, if not bad guilds in general, just recruiting people. And you're going to have a bad time trying to clear Magtherodon or Gruul's Lair or Karazhan. And these aren't even hard raids. But you will struggle in a bad guild or a low-level or low-quality guild. So if you do want to have smooth raids, smooth experiences, you're probably going to want to come back around late AQ, early Nax, and start joining and preparing in these guilds that'll start forming up around then, right? Because towards the end of AQ and early mid-Nax, people are going to start making TBC guilds. But they don't really give a shit about clearing Nax or all this, they're preparing for TBC. So that's going to be a perfect time for you to come back and get ready in a community that's roaring to go into TBC so you can have a smooth and amazing phase 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I do want to say one thing, one final thing to round it off. Play how you want. I know this guide seems a bit rushy and doomy and gloomy, but it doesn't have to be. You can play however you really want to play. There's always going to be communities and guilds and players and arena teams that just are casual and they're just there for a good time. play with them. Play the way you want. If you're a sweaty player, an elitist player, that's okay. Play with those people. World of Warcraft's biggest charm is you can play however you want. There's no limitation on how you play or what you play or how you do. So play World of Warcraft the way that makes you happy, the way that gives you joy. So thank you all for watching. If this guide helped you, please like and subscribe. If you hated it and it was a terrible guide and it was worthless, dislike and subscribe and become a dedicated hater. We don't half-ass hate on this channel, we full-ass it. So leave a juicy, well-written, unique hate comment. Be creative. Thank you all for watching. You can catch me live on Twitch Monday to Friday, noon to 4 p.m. EST. Thank you all. Ebenhard out. Peace.